Welcome to Podcasting for Spiritual Women, the show for priestesses, healers, lightworkers, and soul-led entrepreneurs ready to amplify their voice and grow their business through podcasting. I'm your host, Kim Parkinson, podcast growth coach and producer at KP Creative Media, and I'm here to help you step into sacred visibility, aligned growth, and soul-led business success. Today's episode is all about how your podcast becomes your marketing funnel in a way that feels natural, spiritual, and absolutely non-salesy. And we have talked about marketing funnels before. We've talked about your podcast as your funnel, as part of the customer journey, but I really want to kind of dive really deep into it today. So let's start with the truth. A lot of spiritual entrepreneurs struggle with sales funnels. We've talked about this. It's just really not aligned with us to have that real bro feeling, right? We want to feel it more natural and something where people will just follow us along that journey. The idea of mapping out complicated automations and lead journeys and pushy tactics is just not aligned with any of us. But your podcast, that is your soul-aligned funnel. That is using your voice, the power of your stories, the power of your knowledge and your wisdom and everything that you can deliver to them just through voice. It draws in the right people and it nurtures them and it lovingly guides them towards working with you. And that is super important because that is how we are aligned. So let's break it down in a way that feels good when we're talking about having a podcast as a funnel. And let me also guide you to just remind you that podcast is a funnel. So this is going to be the way that people are guided towards you. A traditional funnel goes awareness to interest, to consideration, to conversion. And your podcast does follow the same journey, but it does it in your way. So your awareness are new listeners finding you through search, shares, or guest episodes that you have been on. Then the interest is they binge 2, 3, 4, 10 episodes, and they start really feeling connected to your energy. And then the consideration is you mention an offer, a lead magnet, or maybe just invite them to your newsletter. Get them into your world. And then the conversion part, and this is the best part, they book a session with you, they sign up for a course, or they join your membership. There's no ads, there's no hustle, just consistency, connection, and clarity. Now, the 3 funnel elements you might need for this are going to be magnetic messaging. Your podcast episodes should speak directly to the desires and, I hate to say it, the pain points of your dream clients. I loathe that word or that phrase, pain points, but realistically, you are speaking to what is inside of them is hurting them. So you're not really talking about giving them pain as much as you want to talk about relieving their pain, right? So the pain points of your dream clients. Use language they recognize and reflect back what they long for. That's kind of goes along with the pain points, right? We're not trying to cause pain. We're trying to relieve that pain. And we're trying to reflect back on what it is that they long for, what it is that they really want. And how can we help them and how can we relieve them of that stress and discomfort? The next is a clear call to action, right? What is the next step? So whether or not you mention your free resource, like a lead magnet, for instance, I have a couple of free resources. So if you are launching a podcast, you can go to my website, kpcreativemedia.com, and at the very bottom is 8 steps to launch your podcast. Now, if you already have a podcast and you are struggling with it to grow, I also have at the top of my website page a free podcast growth clarity call. And I try to mention that in each episode. And it's also really good to try to get that in the middle of the episode, kind of like what I did here, but it's a clear call to action. Where do you want them to go? In this case, I have a tendency to just mention the podcast growth clarity call because it will ask you whether or not you want to launch. And it's a 20-minute call. And if somebody wants to launch, we can talk about that in the call as well. So make it easy for them to follow the energy into your world, right? Make it easy for them, tell them where to go, and then tell them how and what you're going to be delivering to them when you have brought them to your call to action. Now, trust is building over time, and just because you have maybe released 10 episodes, 12 episodes, you really maybe haven't gotten their full attention yet, right? Maybe you haven't gotten their full trust yet. And that is understandable. They don't really know you sometimes. Maybe they found you in a podcast search and they're listening and they love it, but they could be skeptical. And that's okay, because each of your episodes are going to act just like personalized emails to them, right? Each one is going to build that trust. That voice is intimate, and you're just really going to allow them to get to know the true inner you with your voice, your inflection of your voice, how excited you are about what it is that you talk about, how unexcited you are about what you talk about, and the stories that you share, right? Each one of these are going to kind of bring them along that path so that they already know you and know who you are, and that makes it easy for them to buy. The first step is my favorite step, a lead magnet, right? We have lots of different lead magnets out there. Everybody seems to have a lead magnet. Now, I have a couple of different thoughts on this lead magnet system. If you are going to be part of any type of a bundle or a summit or anything like that, a lead magnet is super important to have because that's going to be how people are going to find you in those. Now, if you regularly put out a newsletter and your newsletter is packed with tips, tricks, things that you really want them to know and share, and you're really giving value in those, then maybe a lead magnet isn't the right path for you. And you just want to send them directly to your newsletter. So think about that when you are creating a lead magnet of some type. Now, a lead magnet can be a checklist, a ritual guide, a journaling prompt, a mini audio training, 8 steps to launch your podcast guide like mine. And it just builds your list and it keeps listeners into your sphere and it shows them what it's like to work with you. Just gives them a little taste of you. Now, there are some people that are of the thought that if you offer this lead magnet, they will join and then maybe they'll just leave right away. And that's okay if they do that. Really, maybe they'll come back. If they have heard about you on your podcast, chances are pretty good they'll stay. But if they are really wanting to get more value, maybe make sure that they get that right away in the first email that they get from you when they get your lead magnet. You don't need a 9-step funnel or a complicated sales page to grow your business. You just need your voice, your wisdom, and your one clear path to keep the conversation going. Let your podcast do the nurturing while you are focused on showing up and serving. All right. Thank you so much there, beautiful one. Now, I want you to stay in alignment because when your voice flows, your business grows. Thanks again and see you soon. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Podcasting for Spiritual Women. If you would like more strategy and tips and some tricks on how to make your podcast better, I recommend that you join my newsletter list. You can find that at kpcreativemedia.com/newsletter. Until next time.